now.
Okay.
Oke, saat ini saya bersama dengan Coach David Singleton dari Pacific Cesar Surabaya. Coach, how are you doing?
Doing great, doing good, as well as I can through all the tough times out here, but just trying to stay positive, keep upbeat, and wishing that everyone's healthy out there.
Okay. Oh, where are you now?
I'm in Austin, Texas. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I can see from your head there's always UT,
Yeah.
UT Austin, right? University of Texas
That's right.
logo, Hook'em. All right.
That's right. There you go.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about the situation right now in Texas during this pandemic, the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. I cannot imagine if the street is empty in Texas right now, but can you tell us a little bit about the situation around you?
Yeah, it's kind of eerie times right now. I mean, right now we are not on lockdown fully. There's other cities and states that are currently not only in Texas but all over the U.S. But actually, it's not as bad as some may think. Even in some other places, in Austin, it's very liberal, and people are outside, kind of continuing their day. Now, everyone is taking precautions in certain areas. Currently, we only go to the grocery store and get things that we really need. But as you can see, over the next few weeks, our president did state that it can get worse and worse because the cases are rising. So we could be looking for a lockdown here quite soon. But my hometown in California, where my father lives and some of my friends, they are currently on lockdown. So it's a little bit different in place to place. But currently right now where we are in Texas, it's not, I wouldn't say it's as bad as some other cities.
Okay. Where is your father live now? In what city in California?
In Oakland, California. That's our hometown, right. My family's hometown.
Right.
That's right.
Because I've just spoken to Dior Lohan, who's living in San Francisco. And then also I've spoken to another player, Mike Glover, who's currently in Bronx, New York. So this is that's why I'm interested to see, what happened in the Midwest.
Yeah, no, it's not. I wouldn't say it's as bad yet. I think they're handling it pretty well. But we did hear that in a couple weeks here, it could even get a little bit more tighter. So we have to just be prepared right now. That's all we can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about basketball. First question is, I just want to ask you about your impression so far in your first year in the IBL.
Yeah, I think I was very impressed, not only with just how the league was operated and run, but also just the players and the people. I really enjoyed my time there. I really got to understand some of the players on my team, the people in the organization, and just the work ethic and the talent that's there. I've been in other leagues in ABL for 4 years, traveled all over with them. In Vietnam, obviously, helped develop a lot of the national team players. But I just think that overall the quality of play I was impressed by. And I just enjoyed coaching a lot of these guys. There were a lot of hard workers, and really enjoyed my time with Pacific. And I think there's a lot of potential there. So I enjoyed the IBL. It was great competition. Every game you never knew what was going to happen. And so that's why I liked it. It was a lot of parity there. Anybody could beat anybody. And I like it that way.
Okay. Were you recruited before the import player draft, or were you recruited after the import player draft?
It's a great question. I wasn't. I was recruited after. So it's always tricky, as a coach, coming in and having guys that not necessarily you selected or were in the process with of selecting. So to me it was a little bit of a challenge. That was the first time I've ever experienced that, where it wasn't my guys per se. I didn't have any problems with any of the guys. I thought everybody that we did have as an import worked hard, had a lot of good qualities about themselves, were good professional players. But if I was to do it again, I would love to be involved in that process to select players, because as a coach, you always want to have a guy that beforehand and don't want to kind of start, on the back foot. So that's how it was. The organization did it that way, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Going into the third series, Actually, Pacific Cesar replaced one of its import, Corey Jones, with Anton Waters. Were you involved in the decision of bringing in Anton Waters?
Yeah, I was. I wouldn't say I was completely involved. I mean, the organization had already had him before, so they knew him well, better than I did. I was just able to watch video. Yeah, I mean, I was involved somewhat. Ultimately, it was their decision, Big Boss and Irsan's decision to ultimately. Can you hear me? Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Ultimately, decide on the player, but I was involved, and we needed some sort of inside presence at that time of the season. We had 3 guards as our imports, all guys that didn't have a lot of size on them, and we needed somebody that can help bang inside with guys like Lowhorn and Mike Glover and some of these other guys that are strong and big. So I thought it was a good move by us, and if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
Okay. Could you comment a little bit about Luis Jacobo? I mean, what type of player he is? I mean, is he like the important piece in success of Pacific Cesar this season?
I would agree. I would agree. I think Luis was just fantastic. He was consistent all season long. He was a leader on the court. He was a guy that you could tell was a veteran and a pro. He took care of himself. He come to the gym early, stay late in the gym. So those are big deals as part of success before you even play the game. And he was highly competitive, which I really liked. All his hard work that he did with his jump shot paid off. Almost every night. He had a couple games here and there where he struggled, but overall, I thought he was very consistent, and he was reliable as a scoring option and a scoring threat. And he was a big part of us. I think later in the year, there were some things with obviously the change of players and some other things that were going on with some sicknesses we had and some things you just have to deal with as a team. But he was the consistent person, and I just think he was the guy that I was always begging to shoot some threes because he was so good at it. So he was a big deal for us, and we were happy to have him.
Okay. Let's talk about the local players that you have at Pacific Cesars. Overall, in this quite short season, which local player that you're most impressed or surprised about their development during the IBL 2020?
Yeah, it's a great question. I didn't know much of anything about Indonesia or the players. I saw a little bit of the national teams from time to time when I was in Vietnam, but I didn't know what to expect when I came, and so I kind of did a little bit of research when I was checking in, and I noticed that there was a couple guys that stood out, specifically Yerikho, Tuasela, and Indra Muhammad. And those guys, I thought, even took another step. I know that Yerikho has been very good in the past, and he's a very skillful player. But what I really like about him is he's fearless. He believes that he's supposed to be there playing with the guys. He doesn't care if he's an import or a local guarding him or he's guarding him. He plays on both sides of the court, and he's highly competitive. And those are the people that I really like. Indra Muhammad, I thought, took a big step this year with his confidence and his aggression. I think he has so much more left in him. I think he can do even more with the talent and the ability that he has. He's one of the most athletic people in the whole country. And so I just think that the sky's the limit for a guy like that with the shooting ability that he has. Some of the other guys I really enjoyed was Ramdhan. I thought he'd come along and been consistent. He was a guy that played a lot for us and was able to step up for us. And so those are some of the guys that I really thought took big steps. There's a bunch of other young players involved and around that also can take those steps, I believe. But those were some of the guys that really stood out to me. And I think specifically Indra and Yerikho have a lot. And I think that they're talented and they have the athleticism and ability to do so.
Okay. I've spoken to a couple of Pacific Cesars players, and they say that they will be really happy if you could come back and coaching Pacific Caesars again, either the
Okay.
continuation of this season or coming for another season next year. What is your coaching philosophy, especially, you know, considering that you're still young and, you know, in some cases even you're younger than the player itself?
Right. It's a good question. You know, I would say my philosophy is kind of is gritty. I would just say, like, I like to get after it. I'm an energetic person. I bring the energy. I bring the excitement. And I'm able to relate to the guys. I like to be, you know, a guy. I'm young, so I understand what they're thinking and what they're going through and what they've experienced. I also played, you know, back in high school. I did a little bit in college as well, and I just understand what a lot of these guys are feeling and going through. And we're kind of in, you know, we're closer and near to some of the similar generations, and so I just think having that understanding, having that respect between each other, even though I'm young, they still respect me, and then being able to do it with them. I think that's a big deal too. I'm able to get on the floor and actually show them actively and get involved and do it and show them, hey, I can do this too. So I know what the heck I'm asking for, and I even know how to do it, and I can show you that. And so I think they respect that as well. But I just think that, you know, the overall philosophy is playing fast, playing up tempo, being energetic, bringing the compete level every day, and getting everything out of yourself that you can every single day, maximizing your day and maximizing yourself. And I think that they all just appreciate that and enjoy that. And a lot of them told me that, you know, this was the first time they ever had a coach this way, this involved,
Yes.
this who cared this much, and that was going to get after them, but then also, you know, love them as well. And so they appreciated that, and they saw how much I cared, and I think that all in turn woke them up and said, hey, let's do this thing more. So I think you're right, and I think if we got another run at it with the same group and some maybe an addition here, an addition there, the team could really take a big step in the next season. So
that's actually you know, going into my next question that you already partially answered. I mean, if you happen to come back again to Indonesia and you have the time and also the chance to voice your opinions to the management, what kind of adjustment that you would like to do to this team so that they can come back stronger next season?
Yeah, you know, it's a question we talked about before I left, and we talked about it a little bit later in the season. You know, we always want to figure out ways as a team and organization to get better, and so it's a good question. I think one of the things is adding some height and size from the local standpoint. We have Yuwana. He unfortunately had some injuries throughout the season. He was still recovering from a knee injury. And so he was never fully 100%. So you never got to see him as much. And then we had a new young player, Gabriel, who, you know, has a lot of potential. He's very young. He's very new to all of this. And so he's a guy that we think could be good for us in the future. But I talked to them about getting more experience. We're just a young team. And so I think we got to add an experienced guard, local player, or an experienced big man, local player, to provide not only just the experience, the know-how, but just the whole chemistry and leadership. That's one thing that I talked about the guys this year is, you know, really it was Yerikho that was kind of leading this season, which he should, but there was nobody really else. They're young. They're very quiet by culture, by nature. And they're good people, but we need that grit and determination. And some of the other teams had some of those older guys that could really lead and really brought that experience to the local side, which helped a lot. One of the guys I really enjoy watching, and just giving you an example, is the guy from NSH, number 71, Wendata.
Widianta.
Okay, he is like the epitome of a leader, experienced player, somebody that I enjoy watching while I'm coaching. So that's an example of a guy that I'm talking about. But I just think that adding not too many, but either an experienced big man, experienced local player overall that can not only play on the court, but can help us in the locker room and all those other things will help us. And then I think, you know, if it's the next season, if it's not the playoffs, then letting me be involved in the drafting process of the imports as well. Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I mentioned before when you said that you're in Texas, I kind of miss, Tex-Mex and also, several other restaurants usually in Texas.
Man, yeah,
but let me ask you this. I mean, you spent some time in Surabaya. What do you enjoy the most from that city?
We lived on the east side, right? So we were kind of over in our little, I guess you'd say, area. Yeah. But I did like it's a big city. I've been there before with the Saigon Heat and the ABL. But we never went. We only went from the hotel to the gym. So I never got to see the city that much. But as I spent time there, I thought it's a big place. There's a lot of malls. The malls are huge. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 malls, and 2 of them are gigantic. So I would spend time in some of those malls and Tunjuan Plaza, and just on the west side. There's a lot of nice places and big buildings and places to go. And so that was my thing, was to just go around there and see a lot of the places. And it's not as bad as some would think. When I was passing ABO, I thought, oh no, this is such a bad city. This is a bad place. And during my time with Pacific, I saw it wasn't that case. It was different. So it was good. It was a good thing. Yeah.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your interview. And just stay safe, be safe, and then hopefully we can see you again on the court with Pacific Cesar next season or whatever time's coming.
Thank you so much, and you stay safe, and I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. All right.